Senator Cruz, my name is Joe Reed. I'm from Dover, New Hampshire. As you and I'm sure everyone else in this room knows, heroin has absolutely ravaged our communities here in New Hampshire. If elected president, what would you do to get New Hampshire citizens the treatment they need?
Yeah, look, it is a great question. You know, just a couple of days ago, we did an event at a church here in New Hampshire with a number of community groups that are working with those dealing with drug addiction, dealing with alcohol addiction, dealing with heroin. You know, the number of overdoses. You've got roughly 50,000 Americans each year that are dying of drug overdoses. More Americans are dying of drug overdoses than car accidents. It is an epidemic. Heroin in particular, one of the most staggering figures is that here in New Hampshire, roughly 50% of adults know somebody who has abused heroin in the last 5 years. If you take adults under 35, that number is 60%. It's nearly 2/3. You know, one of the things I shared at the debate on Saturday is this is an issue I have firsthand experience with. Both with my sister, who struggled with drug and alcohol addiction her whole life and ultimately lost her life in a drug overdose that was ruled accidental, but she was a sister who I loved. She was 9 years older than me, my half-sister. And she destroyed her life by going down a path where she refused treatment, she refused counseling, she didn't want to change the patterns. Now, I've seen a different course. My father used to be a drunk. And when I was a little boy, my dad left my mother and me when I was just 3 years old. And thankfully, he was invited several months later to go to a Bible study. And he became a Christian. He came to know the Lord. And it transformed his life. He stopped drinking. He came back to my mother and me. He reunited our family. And as a result of that transformation, I wasn't raised by a single mom without my dad in the home, but rather was raised in a Christian home by two parents who loved and stood by me and cared for me. You know, when it comes to dealing with the ravages of addiction, we need to use every tool we can. We need local and community groups, things like AA. Things like church groups and counseling groups and medical treatment. We need to work. Addiction is a disease. It needs to be treated as a disease. We need to help people overcome it, but it's an unusual disease in that you've got to want to overcome it. If someone's not prepared to make the decision to overcome it, no amount of external intervention will make them do it unless they are prepared to decide, I want to conquer this demon. So I think we need to work using all the tools we can to help people overcome addiction. But I also think a very important part of this is stopping or at least slowing down the flow of illegal drugs into this country.
Yep.
You know, in talking about immigration and our immigration plan, we have a very, very detailed immigration plan. It was designed with Jeff Sessions and Steve King, probably the two strongest champions in the United States Congress, of securing the borders. We're going to build a wall. We're going to triple the Border Patrol. We're going to increase fourfold the fixed wing and rotary wing aircraft. We're going to end sanctuary cities. We're going to end welfare payments for those here illegally. We're going to put in place a strong E-Verify system, a biometric exit entry system. We know how to solve this problem. What's missing is the political will to do it. Listen, the drugs, the heroin that is flowing into New Hampshire, much of it is coming from Mexican drug cartels that are transnational criminal organizations. They are vicious, they are nasty. El Chapo, who Sean Penn recently told us was such a sexy, chic international figure. You know, these crazy homicidal maniacs that result in people dying all over the world are somehow glorified by Hollywood. One of the keys to slowing down the ravages of the drug trade is securing the southern border and stopping that flow. We know how to do it. By the way, for everyone who says you can't solve this problem, you know the media, they love, for example, the snarky little line, if you build a 10-foot wall, people will sell 11-foot ladders. And they think they're so clever when they're saying this. You can kind of see them puff out their chest and say the line. And it's like, well, if you don't think walls work, go to Israel.
That's right.
Go to Israel and look at the walls. When you have terrorists from Gaza crossing over, when you actually mean to secure it, you can secure it. And if you put a wall in place, you triple the Border Patrol, you have fixed wing and rotary wing aircraft, you monitor an attempted incursion, and by the way, it's real easy. Look for the guy carrying the 11-foot ladder.